Welcome to season 2, episode 2 of Estate Agency Mastery. What a first episode we just had. But I tell you what, we're going to have a cracking episode now. We've got Spencer Lawrence from Paramount. Spencer, thank you so much for joining us.
Our pleasure. Anytime.
So you are king of the community, right? Paramount does so many great things so that essentially you lead generate by being an active community member, and you give so much back. So we've just talked off camera about instant gratification. I think agents want direct results when it comes to door knocking, direct mail, etc. But being in the community, it's a bit more of a slow burner, and you just mentioned it humanises you. So if I'm an agent in Birmingham, Belfast, Bognor Regis, and I'm thinking I've got this wrong, how do I get it right?
I think the first thing you need to do is align yourself with areas, specific geographies that align with your business model. Now, lots of agents in the past will do a box ticking exercise, in our humble opinion, where they might sponsor individual events that have a time span of an afternoon or maybe a week or two, and then they move on to the next thing. Now, We haven't cracked this. I wouldn't say we're masters of this at all. We're learning every single day, but you actually have to put yourself next to a project that has a long time frame. So it's going to last for, and we'll talk about our bridge project in a little while, or something that's a continuum. And a continuum might be something like, the food bank. Now, I think from a lead gen perspective, people talk about that from a business perspective. Lead gen for us is also how we recruit. So we have lots and lots of team members who have joined us. We've had 16 new starters in the last 16 months, almost all of them, partly because the recruiters are coaching them to do it, but in all seriousness, lots of them have come outside of the realms of, day-to-day recruiters. They all mention our community work because as an agent, it's super important to humanize yourself. It is very stressful doing what we do on a day-to-day basis, particularly when you've done it as long as me. But I think actually going out into the community and giving back to the community that we generate our business from is crucial, from a feel-good factor, from a recruitment factor, from learning your area, what type of people live in your area. We all walk past each other. Everyone's busy jockeying for position on the pavement, rush for this, rush for that. And actually, we all know that actually if we stop and pause and take some time to interact with people, most people are good. Most people have got a super interesting story. And what better to learn about an area from the people who live there? So we are friendly with lots of homeowners who have been here for 40 years. The changing landscape of, West End Lane, which is our high street. What's changed? What's different? The demographic. What's happened that you don't like? Is there anything that we can talk about? It's a very it's an open book into how involved you can be as an agent. I don't think you're going to get anything immediately back. Oh yeah, we're down at the summer fair, and yeah, it's funny that while I'm at the Tombola, I've decided I'm going to sell my property. That's probably not going to happen. It's a slow burner. But if you want to be authentic, I think if you're not authentic, the community's not a rat super fast. And actually the box ticking exercise, you're just wasting your time anyway. And to be that agent where the community can come into the office, not to talk about property or transactions or what's going on with inflation and interest rates and all the rest of it, actually a safe haven, to have a conversation. One of my colleagues, Rianne in particular, I went to Sainsbury's. We did a food bag purchase, just before Christmas. And she spoke to everyone in the big Sainsbury's on Finchley Road. We actually got people within Sainsbury's, the consumer, what are you doing? Oh, we're from West Hampstead, we're doing this food bag thing. People were giving Rianne cash in Sainsbury's to buy stuff at Sainsbury's for the food bag. Oh, which agent are you again? Oh yeah, we're Paramount. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe they tell their friends, but You know, we want to create this spider's web of positivity around our brand. And how are you going to do that? Well, social proof, third-party sanction. You want your audience and your community speaking positively about you as an agent. That's the way we try and approach it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so two questions. First one being, why don't I sponsor the local football team? That seemed like an easy one. Get the shirts done. And that's my first question. And number two, and it's how important is getting that community into your database and then nurturing the relationship?
I think the sports teams works really well if you go down and watch them play.
No, I'm just going to sponsor the shirts.
It's just no good. You got to be on the sideline. You've got to be speaking to those parents. Like, otherwise it's just a name. You know, what is it? What's the connection between that name and actually what are they interested in? They're watching their kids, their, you know, sons and daughters play football or whatever sport it might be. But if you are going to sponsor that team, you want to be sending someone down from your business who is going to be selecting the person of the match, for example, you know, and maybe they're sponsoring the awards at the end of the year and they give out the player of the, you know, season award or whatever it might be. If someone gets a hat trick, or, you know, if they score, you know, 25 goals in a season, then we'll give £100 to something else, or we'll buy some kit, or, you know, it's got to be a continuum. It can't just be a snapshot in time, because what's going to happen in 12 months or, you know, 24 months down the track, that brand name is just going to be a bit faded. That's always going to happen. And it's going to become a distant memory. Like, how do you go back in there? Oh yeah, they're the people who actually sponsor and come down. What, an agent? Yeah, really. So I'm not saying that sporting events don't work. I'm just saying the snapshot for us, in our experience, is just, I think that's a vanilla approach. And I think it's easy to replicate. Oh yeah, we do that and that and that. But actually, do you go down and spend any time doing that? You can collect food for the food bank, but how many hours do your team spend per year in the food bank?
It's not about writing a check or doing the activity. It's about being present in the activity, right?
Exactly.
And striking out that conversation.
Exactly. And does that answer the question?
Yeah. And then the second one is, I'm a huge advocate on, as you know, my background is kind of real estate in the States and being involved with Keller Williams, and they are huge on getting the community into the database and then nurturing them with valuable messages for the community, inviting them to community events. So it's not all real estate agency, but they'll also send out the base rates change. What does this mean for you? What does the first 30 days of 2025 property market look like? So they're a community champion and to use their term, a real estate champion, but they're blended. So they've have one identity, but getting the actual individual into your database and then segmenting the database, how important is that to you?
It's critical. You know, it's critical that individual is receiving information that's interesting to them as well. You can't blitzkrieg everyone. You can't, you know, everyone doesn't want to receive all the same information all at the same time. So you need to agonize over the detail there. And how do you do that? You hang out with that audience a little bit more. And the best way to do that is face-to-face interaction. That's how it starts. That's where the magic really happens. You know, we've had someone who looks after the food bank here in West Hampstead. We've helped him with refurbishment of his own flat. He's sent a oh, you don't do that. Can you help with that? He's happened to give us 2 prospects for lettings owners. Now, those owners might stay with us for 10 years. That's our average tenure for an owner. Average fee is £3,000 per annum. That we're not doing it because we're trying to get that from it. If you're doing it to just generate business, it's not going to be successful because it won't be authentic. It's something that's, you know, relationships take a long time to sort of to fit in, for them to work. How are we going to add value to that individual? And I think things like, for example, 2020, there's a Mill Lane Bridge, which is one of the main access into West Hampstead. It was painted many years ago by a group of school children from a local school. And unfortunately, one of the artists passed away. It was a sad time, difficult time. The opportunity came and we worked with Network Rail, with the local council and with 2 schools to paint again this sort of 80-meter run of the bridge into West Hampstead. And we had a family member of the sadly the girl who passed away, and that over the course of a period of time, it took 4 months, 5 months maybe, to get it all the box ticking. And it was like, is this really, are we doing the right thing here? But actually that feel good, we got an amazing colourful bridge into West Hampstead. Well, we didn't do the art. We facilitated the kids from the local schools doing the art. Well, all of those kids have parents who own properties in and around the area. They might be residents, tenants, they might be owners or whatever. And now that is still there. We can, walking down there, there's a sense of pride. We were involved in something that was a tragic story that someone locally wanted to do something about, but couldn't facilitate it from a budget perspective. So we got involved in that. And it was just an amazing project to be involved with. And it is still there now. It's a colourful bridge rather than a dowdy, it's something, it's as it should be. And we've been a small part of that. We were a catalyst, facilitator, I guess.
What's incredible hearing you tell that story, and thank you for sharing, is you're going to get agents listening to this going, I should do community. Oh, okay, the football team, I'll have to go down. What I'm hearing through the story and what I'm visually seeing is the passion about, if you're going to do community,
all in,
or actually don't be half-assed, because
the consumer's just they're gonna smell a rat. They're gonna see that, oh, this is they're doing that again. And it doesn't need to be great, big, sensational ideas. There's a farmer's market that happens to be right opposite Paramount every Saturday. So tote bag, Northwest is best, and we give it to all of the vendors who are selling their tomatoes and sausage rolls and all the rest of it, and say, give these out when you sell the products. We literally got 150 people walking up and down West End Lane with a Paramount tote bag. But it says Northwest is best, and they're going to reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. And it's like, actually, you've got to play long-term plays, either the bridge or a tote bag. They are long-term plays, or you play a short-term play, which is something that is hugely memorable. Like, lots of people do a Christmas window. Well, we have a graffiti artist that comes in. How he does it, he sprays backwards. I don't know how this guy does it. We've watched him, we've videoed it. But what he does is he links in shops, other commercial units up and down West End Lane. And then they came and talked to us about their property journeys. And then we post about those. And all of a sudden we've got a guy who lives not too far away. He's been in the property for 40 years, a local artist. And he's going to start doing art for us and do pictures of properties in the local area and different stories about those individual properties. So it's like, how far do you want to go? Well, you got to peel away the layers of the onion. You got to get to the core, or not do it, because someone in your area will be doing it. See who's doing it the best. Can you compete with them commercially? If the answer is no, that's okay, because you can compete with them on a community level. You don't need a huge budget to do this. You just need belief and marginal gain. Stephen Brown. It's got to be a consistent behavior. It's got to be part of your DNA, part of your culture. New people who come and join Paramount, this is how we do things around here. It's not a surprise.
So I'm listening to this now as an agent. I'm going, God, this guy's passionate. He's good. He's just given me a couple of good ideas. And I'm going, I know I should do this. And maybe I'll come back to listen to this podcast. And then statistically, only 20% of listening to this will take any action, right? The Pareto principle. But for those that are going, I'm actually going to do this now. I'm going to give me a percentage of time you should spend on this, because we've got to go and sell houses, right? And actually, should I not just be spending time? Let's say I'm a new self-employed agent, great example, right? And I'm going, sounds good, but actually I just need to be getting the low-hanging fruit. How much time would you allocate to community, or do you? And what are the events or things that you do that the listener or the viewer can go, I'm going to go nick 2 of those because I think they're really good?
So I mean, the size of business we are just shy of 40 people. So we have one full-time person doing this. So, and within that, every single individual within the team has however many days they want to allocate to go and do stuff in the community, even not from a lead generation perspective, because that's not the catalyst. That's the byproduct of doing it. Like, how are they going to know who you are? We think, oh, you've got a nice office and you've got really nice screens and the office looks fantastic and we've done it up and it's, it looks wonderful and we've got these awards and all the rest of it. People just walk past, they're going to work. They're not bothered, but when you come out of your office and then you can show your personality, then they will be interested to come into the office, and hopefully that's where the magic happens. Some really simple ideas. Obviously, one in particular that the Northwest is best idea is championing your area and speaking to other commercial units. People have been around for a long time, stories they've got to tell. There's various different social media opportunities. Can they get on your blogs? Can you get backlinks back into your site? You're sharing stories about other people. You're not saying, we've got 250 years experience in agency, and everyone's falling asleep. No one cares. Yeah, they just don't care. And things like, I'm just looking at my notes here, the book nook. So that's a very simple, like we've seen them. There's one in Willesden Green Station, but this would be a branded book nook. So you put your book in and then, you're swapping books round. I've read that. Someone else can put a book in and swap it. It's all branded up. There's QR codes on there. And what's that showing is it's sustainable. We're in the area. It's a slow burner. It's not in your face. It's not free market appraisal and all the rest of it. It's people, we ask often on valuations why have people come to us, and it's lots of people would say, and I'm just saying what the facts are, by recommendation. But then the next question is, what do you mean by recommendation? Oh, we've just heard them talk positively about you. Now, how that permeates into us sitting in that lounge, we're not particularly concerned. What we are concerned about is making sure our spiders web reach gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because we want more and more brand advocates, because that's the best marketing in the world, is it not?
Makes sense. So just going back, yes, it is, but just going back to a book nook, essentially a book swapping piece. So it's built out of wood, painted your colors, your logo at the top. I'm busy trying to explain that. And like you say, that's one thing. When you combine everything, it's that, and this is such a good theme. It's not the instant gratification, it's the wider piece and everything, but omnipresence, I guess, of the community piece, and actually the genuine passion, which leads to that second question in the living room.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, why are we here? Oh, we saw this, it's never really about one thing. So if someone's going to make a decision on instructing us for whatever reason, even if it's just for helping them, we've got to make sure that our approach is multifaceted. Now, if it is from our community work, fantastic. If it isn't, we're not going to stop the community work, because the next one will be, or could be. And, it's that relentless pursuit. Like, I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to quit on this community piece, because ultimately they are the people, that's the lifeblood of our business. So we should give them as much time as they need, whether they're selling or not. Should we not?
Yeah, mate, I love it. All right. And now I'm an agent since this going, I'm going to go down to my local station, because if I can provide a book to someone and they can do, and they turn around and go, I've not had to pay for a book for 6 years and now I'm going to sell, I'm going to use you. I love it. Give me some more gold I can go and implement.
I think, like, just going through some of my notes really quickly. I would say, what can you do as a big project? So the bridge type thing. Now that just takes planning. Doesn't take. It was an investment, but it's still there 5 years later, still looking fantastic. A very simple one. We've all seen people do, drawings. Get the kids to do drawings. What's the best drawing for Christmas or a summer period? But get one for a calendar. So your calendar is up in someone's property, and You are constantly there. It's very positive. The calendar, any proceeds from the calendar go straight back into the food bank. The kids draw different pictures of the seasons, which go through the calendar. They can win a prize. You get, using stuff like this, mentioned Stephen Brown again, like laptops or, Kindles and different bits and pieces that you could offer to the school that helps them. But a very simple, cheap, sustainable way where the collateral is produced by the local children. The parents are going to want to have their kids, picture up on their wall. And it's a very simple, sustainable way to make sure that your name is in people's living rooms, in their kitchens, on their pinboards, wherever they're going to keep them.
It's so clever, right? They're seeing your logo every day.
Yeah, but not in a punchy, Chris, like it's Paramount. It's like we're a small piece on there, but it's actually, as a plan view, what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to involve local schools. The byproduct of a proceed goes to the food bank. From that, are we going to get any business directly? I don't know. Does it make us feel really good about what we do from a human perspective? Yes, absolutely. Is it highly connected with the community? Yes. Will it help us to recruit better people who are more culturally aligned to us? Yes. I think we might do this. And how many other things like that? Recruitment is a massive piece. Speak to your team, existing team. What could we do differently as a community that would have drawn you into this, my business, our business and brand? Like, because people, you get better people, guess what? This whole thing becomes way easier. It's not like, oh, I haven't got time for that. Sorry, I'm really, that community stuff, I'm just far too busy. Because they're anticipating that being part of their working week or month or whatever.
It's so clever. I mean, you've just taken me almost back to a couple of my old business partners in the US. They would do, and this isn't community, but these are the crazy ideas that I really like. And then I'll close on one and get your feedback on it. But they would give a set of knives as a closing gift. Now, they would go too far and put or a completion gift or a deal gift, a moving gift. They'd put their logo on the knives. Don't do that. But what they do really well is they would give the knives, and then every year they would get the knife companies to call and say, hey, do you want your knife sharpened? It's part of Paramount service. And they'd go, no. And if they said yes, the guys that they were sending out would, yes, they were knife sharpeners, but they were salespeople. So they would be in the lounge of people in the community. Again, that's slightly off piece, but the one I love, and you mentioned an agent that of ours near where you live, they do a cinema day. So we pick the worst weekend of the year for rain. We do it on a Sunday where cinemas have notoriously slow business. And we put on Finding Nemo or The Grinch or whatever. We know that's because it's expired. It's not like a new film. It's going to cost hardly anything. And for 500 quid, you can invite everyone in your community down at a time of year where things are so expensive to say, hey, come on.
I'm writing this down, Chris.
Write it down, right? Come on down to cinema. Now, whether they turn up or not is great if they do, but a touch point you had with your community is, hey, bring your kids down to the cinema and for free, we'll put sweets on, the mortgage company will pay for that. And it costs 450 quid or whatever. It's pennies on the dollar. Now, cynically, an old American business partner of mine would say, who they freaking going to list with when you're showing their kid Finding Nemo? But it's kind of true. But actually, again, coming back to your piece, which I love the whole theme the whole way through, is done with an authenticity. That'll be the result. But what a nice thing to do for community when things are really tough anyway, right? And I know you're in a nice posh part of Northwest London, but I'm sure there's people in 1, 2, 3 million quid houses that come to Christmas are like, things are a bit tight, right? Because that's the way the world is. And you're inviting them down to have a gift from us.
Also, it's school holidays. They want the, kids to do an activity and, there'll be other kids there. Maybe you can do it in conjunction with local schools and, get some traction that way. But yeah, I just get the sense that it's something, do I allocate an exact, is it an exact science from a time perspective? Definitely not. But definitely culturally, every single person who works at Paramount knows that community is a massive part of what we do. And if they want to go and do something that's community related, that we are almost sure will not lead to lead generation from a resi sales or lettings perspective, that's absolutely fine and encouraged. Because it's practice. You've got to get out there and speak to people. You know, all agents say, oh, we're great at dealing with people. Well, go and, you know, go out there and speak to someone. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. You know, it's good practice. Like, and when you're in the living room, eventually, there's no hard sale. We literally got the keys cut for you. Here you go, Chris. There you go. We've seen you around for the last several years. We love the stuff you're doing. People, when we took the window down this year, knocked on the window, loved what you did with the window. Fantastic. Loved it. People were taking pictures of it outside. And it wasn't particularly Paramount-esque. It was West Hampstead-esque. That's what it was. And it brought in other shops that people would recognize. So, you know, people were proud of their areas. And we're helping them make them feel a bit prouder, hopefully. We can.
Spence, thank you. Last two questions for me. First one is, when you see people, would see agents do stuff in the community and they get it terribly wrong, and it could be a constant theme, or you want to bang their heads without naming names. What's something an agent now that's gone, right, I really like what Spencer said, I'm going to go and do this. What's one mistake they should avoid? And my second question is, who do you follow, either from an estate agency point of view or a community point of view, that our agents should be following and listening to as well?
I think number one, just donating money and then telling everyone you've donated money. That to me is like, you know, any charity that you're involved with. If you're just giving money away without actually physically getting involved with what's going on behind that door, to me at least, that's not acceptable. Yeah. Like that, you know. I just don't understand it at all. But that's my opinion. That's a strong opinion. But
I like it. That's what you're here for.
Feel very strongly about that. In terms of, you know, from a marketing perspective, I mean, Hatton Home for us, like, you know, they are doing some super cool stuff from a marketing, which is blended back into, you know, community stuff. And actually, lots of the independent agents are the ones that we would follow up and down the land, because they have to.
Yeah.
They have to do it. And because they have to do it, they tend to do it well as a continuum. So, you know, Luke Sinclair, you know, up in Leicester, if you follow, you know, his agency, you know, his Christmas, I mean, he literally turns his offices, he empties them and turns them into Santa's grottos. But he hasn't done it once. He does it again and again and again. And he never talks to us when he's very passionate about these days and shares the videos and the prep that goes in, and he's working late at night with his team members clearing it. He never said, oh, off the back of that, I got 5 sales. That's not why he's doing it. He's not doing it for that reason. He knows it's just chipping away. We're still here. We're doing the right thing. We're authentic. We're the agents that do that stuff. And I think it's a exciting opportunity for individual agents and independent agents to actually steal a bit of a march from being a community champion, as long as it's on a continuum and not just we're doing it in March and then we've done it for the year. That's the way I see it.
Spencer, thank you so much. Episode 2 has lived up to its hype. I appreciate you, and will no doubt get you back on at some point in the future.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.